What's up, guys? It is monthly encasing time for June. I'm a little late to the party on this, but I wanted to go ahead and get this one out before the end of July. So anyway, let's get going. What's up, guys? Welcome to another monthly encasing. I'm really enjoying doing these, basically ranking everything I watched for the month. And sometimes you're going to see like some classic stuff, not necessarily 2025. I include it all in here, and it's usually like maybe 10 to 12, 13 movies. I got 11 for you for the month of June. Most of them are going to be the new stuff, of course, but I do have a couple of surprises in here for you too, as well. So let's jump into this with number 11 is going to be Into the Deep, the movie with Scout Taylor Compton, Richard Dreyfuss. It is a shark movie. It is a complete and utter piece of crap. It's not good at all. You know, we know what we get when we see these movies. You go to Walmart, and there's that one rack that's got, like, we call them the Walmart dumpster fire movies, and they have really awesome covers, but they're kind of hilarious as well. This is that movie. And the cover of this movie is really funny too, with Scout Taylor Compton. Her head's above the water. She looks like she's crying, but it definitely looks photoshopped. You know, it doesn't look like natural or realistic. It looks like she's photoshopped in front of a giant shark. But the movie is it's just very cliche. A bunch of criminals coming on, and they're wanting to get some gold at the bottom. And she's giving it her all. She's trying. I don't think Scout Taylor Compton's a bad actress at all, but it just has that B-movie value to it. It just screams B-level. Okay, number 10, How to Train Your Dragon. I'm not going to say much about this movie. I will say the original movie is the reason we got Levi 15 years ago, 2010. We love the original movie. And Toothless was just, you know, he pretty much was like a dragon version of a dog in the movie. If you watch the movie, if you replace Toothless with a dog, that's you know, because he's a pet. And he was so adorable in the original movie that it prompted us to get Levi. And so Levi's 15 years old now. He was just a little pup, little baby when we got him back then. And so now there's a new How to Train Your Dragon movie, and it's like Levi's 15. He's like nearing the end of his life, and we're doing everything we can to keep him going. But the movie, it's just a straight-up remake of the original, which I think is better. It doesn't really take any risks. It doesn't do anything new. You know, and I might forget a couple of things that they might have done different in this new movie, but overall, it just, you know, and you could blame it also on kid movies. I think you got to do a lot to get me there when I'm watching kids movies. They got to be something extra special, like, say, the Toy Story movies. Those can really grab at my heart. The first, How to Train Your Dragon, grabbed at my heart. But this one, it just didn't. Okay, number 9, the first Megan. I figured I'd go ahead and give the first Megan a fresh watch before I watched the sequel, which will be on this list. And I got to admit, I did enjoy Megan a lot more after watching the second one. And I think how that works is when you watch a sequel that has the same characters, you get to know the characters better, and then you start enjoying them more. And so when you go back and watch the first movie, if the characters were part of your problem with the first movie, you sort of cut them a little slack, I guess, to say, you know, on the next watch. And that's what happened. I found the first movie quite charming this time, honestly. I don't think it's great, and I still think the Child's Play remake is the better movie, just because they kind of cover the same ground. But I still, you know, I had a good time with it. And so that's going to be my number 9. Number 8 is Copycat, another older movie from the mid-90s. And the reason I watched this was because it came to Netflix. And, you know, this is like a forgotten movie. Like, nobody ever talks about Copycat. And so then that's the nice thing about Netflix, is it kind of drudges up these older movies, you know, maybe cultish type movies. This is actually a fun movie, but I still understand why it didn't really catch on. It came out in the mid-90s when, you know, you had freaking movies like Seven and Silence of the Lambs and so many other of these, you know, serial killer movies. I guess you could say the movies themselves were kind of copycat type movies. But I do like the unique premise here, that you have a serial killer, but then you have a copycat serial killer that basically copies all these serial killer, I guess you could call them legends. At first, they can't figure out what his stamp is, his motive. But then quickly they realize, oh, he's copying kills from other serial killers. You got a good performance, really good performance by Sigourney Weaver. She even stated that she was quite proud of this role that she did, and playing a shut-in because she had a traumatic event at the beginning of the movie, and so she was agoraphobic. She couldn't leave her apartment. Also, really charming performances by Holly Hunter and Dermot Mulroney. Dermot Mulroney, I think he was just very kind of the it young guy back in the 90s, but he wasn't able to ever get to like the A level. He was always kind of a supporting actor type role, but just oozing with charm, you know? And I would say watch like movies like The Thing Called Love, which he was in, Point of No Return. You know, I like a lot of those 90s Dermot Mulroney movies. Okay, number 7, 28 years later. It wasn't as great as I wanted it to be, but it was very, very thought-provoking. So I guess you got to pick, what do I want the movie to be? Do I want it to be more artsy and thought-provoking? Or do I want it to just kind of carry on the original story and hold that vibe and be just as entertaining? And I think the answer is B when you have a franchise movie. I'm curious to see where they go because the next one comes out in January. This is a movie that I'm dying to watch again. I need to give this a second watch because it's a little jarring when you are such a fan of the previous 2 movies. I'm a massive fan of 28 Days and Weeks. But this one definitely took some artistic risks. And so, yeah, we'll see. I know Nia DaCosta is directing the next one, and that has me highly, highly curious. Okay, number 6, Megan 2.0. I never thought I would put Megan 2.0 over 28 years later, but here we are. And you know what? This movie didn't do that well at all. And I think that's just because it alienated the core horror fan base because it went for straight up sci-fi action. But at the end of the day, for me, a movie's a movie, and it was really, really fun. There was a lot of you know, funny comedic moments with Megan as a character. I liked the direction that they went with this movie. I think this property suits action sci-fi. Taking the core characters that they didn't really do too much with in the first movie and really ramping up the action and doing things with them that, you know, I didn't expect in the second movie was really fun. Giving Megan a fun opponent to go against was cool. And so I honestly had a blast with Megan 2.0. Number 5, a Giallo movie, The Red Queen Kills 7 Times. I reviewed this movie this month. I like to try to get a Giallo review in at least once every couple months. And this one was really, really fun. I think as far as twists go in Giallo movies, I think this might be the most memorable and most like layered because, you know, there's not just one thing that happens in the twist. It's kind of a chain reaction. And there's a lot of things going on in the twist of this movie. It's 1972, which I love that time frame. This director, I had never heard of anything else he had done, but, you know, just a beautifully directed movie with a hard focus on story and not excess as much as a lot of Giallo movies from that time can focus on. So give this one a watch if you haven't seen it yet. 4, I'm going to go with Titan, the Ocean Gate submersible disaster. I watched this documentary. I'm a huge fan of documentaries. Netflix, I think that's one thing that really keeps Netflix going is great documentaries. I just watched another one, Amy Bradley is Missing. That's going to be on the July list, and I loved it. But this is another one that I thought was just enthralling, gripping, and you will get so angry when you're watching this because, you know, a lot of needless deaths happen because of, you know, a billionaire's ego, pretty much. And it's just a frustrating story. You know, it sucks when there's, when tragedy happens that doesn't need to happen. And it's just because of ego and narcissism. And but the story itself is just enthralling. And you cannot take your eyes off of it. It's the definition of bingeable TV. Number 3 is Abigail. I think this particular list is going to have more non-new releases than my previous encasings. But yeah, I just watched a lot of other stuff this month. And Abigail, I was due to give that another fresh watch. I hadn't seen it in a while. This might have been the second or third time I'd watched it. But man, do I have a blast with Abigail. It's bloody. It's fun. It puts a unique spin on the vampire lore, and it never lets up. You know, you got some great star power in this movie as well, and I think Melissa Barrera really needed this role considering the time it came out and what was going on. But she's really great in this, and it was nice to see Catherine Stewart in here as well. Dan Stevens, you know, just so much fun, so much star power, great direction, and bloody as hell. I think one of the best vampire movies to come along in quite a while, too. Number 2, another documentary, Jaws at 50. And you know what? This was a challenge for me because I was like, can I watch another Jaws documentary when I've seen so many of them? And can it bring anything new to the table? And not only does it bring new to the table, but man, it was so well put together with brand new interviews from everyone, especially Steven Spielberg. And I did learn a few things that I didn't know from previous documentaries, but I think ultimately, this is the definitive documentary on Jaws, and it's probably the one I will watch the most from here on out. And it honestly flies right by. It's cool to see a lot of filmmakers, young filmmakers, talking about this movie and what it meant to them, but also fans. You know, this documentary just has everything in it if you're a Jaws fan, you know? And it was cool because I picked up the steel book that had it, but it's also on like the special features. If you have like the Fandango or the Voodoo version of this movie, if you look in the extras, it's kind of hidden in there. But yeah, you can actually watch it if you have the digital version of Jaws. So it's cool. And I think it's on Hulu as well. And number 1, speaking of sharks, Dangerous Animals. This movie was freaking awesome. I loved every second of it. To put a unique spin on a very tired subgenre, but a subgenre that we never get, I guess, tired of is shark movies. We love shark movies, but there's just so many bad ones. This is a great one. This is one of the best shark movies I've seen in maybe decades. It might be the second or third best shark movie I've seen outside of Jaws. It's that freaking good. It's like at the level of, like, say, The Shallows, which I think is really good. But Jai Courtney really turns in a fantastic performance as well, and I think he was due for a good comeback role, and there was nobody else that I would have loved to have seen in this role than Jai Courtney. You could tell he just loved chewing up every scene that he is in. This character is just really fun and psychotic. I think he was made for it. But I loved the young girl that's, you know, fighting for her life. This is a survival movie, and you just are rooting for her, and you're hoping and praying that she gets out of this mess, you know? This is one of those movies where the audience knows a lot more than the protagonist, and so they're kind of yelling at the screen, but in a good way. Yeah, if you haven't seen Dangerous Animals, what are you doing? This is one of the best movies of the year for sure. So, yeah, that's the June encasing. Glad I got that out of the way. I'm so looking forward to hearing your picks for the month of June. If you want to include July in there, since we're like almost mid-July now, you can go ahead. But there will be a July list that I'm going to put out probably early August. And I'm looking forward to hearing your picks in the comments. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day. And on Fridays, we do Free Fall Fridays. Follow my Drumdums on my socials. Support me on Patreon. Become a channel member. Buy me a coffee. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for it. Have a good day, and Drumdum out.